Welcome back to RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2018, brought to you by Redcon One. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guests are the brother-sister duo. This might be the first time in Olympia history we have this, although we had it last year as well. Chris and Melissa Bumstead, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? Happy to be back on the show.
Chris, you've been like kind of hiding out the whole year. You know, we haven't seen you on stage. You kind of like been laying low since last year's Olympia. Myself included, a lot of people felt that you should have won the title. What's been the strategy over the last 12 months? What have you been doing in hiding? Just working on your physique?
Pretty much, yeah. This was like my first official off season where I've actually been able to focus 100% on bodybuilding, growing, taking my off season seriously. So pretty much, yeah, I just stayed in hiding, stayed back at home. I moved back home closer to Ian and Melissa, so we've been getting some really good training in, and it was just focusing on having a proper off season.
I find that interesting. You say you never had a true off season to grow. When have you put on all this muscle you have on your body?
I mean, I had periods of a year, but never a full year. I started off competing at like 19, 20 in university.
Right.
Obviously, sending me off to my first year of university living in residence, I'm not going to call that an official off season because it's having a little fun, you know?
Yeah.
And then the year before that, I competed 6 times in the year. So obviously no off season there. And this is the first time I just show to show with a full year, and I just felt great, honestly. So I was happy to have it.
I heard after the Olympia you did a little partying. Is that true?
We all do a little bit.
my little secret birdie told me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It wasn't your sister. It wasn't your sister. Melissa, let's talk about you for a second because, last year was your first Olympia. When I saw you up on the figure stage, I actually, it's so weird because you two both have like such similar genetics. Like I could definitely see the resemblance physique-wise. It's uncanny almost.
Yeah, our structures are really similar. It's funny, even how we put on muscle.
Really?
Like we don't train similar, but it happens the same. Yeah.
Except everybody says she has good arms and my arms suck. So.
That's because you don't need to have 23-inch arms, in women's competition.
Small arms. That's just.
Now, Melissa, when I saw you last year, I actually said to myself, "Wow, I think that she can do women's physique and probably do really well." And I thought maybe that's where you were going to go, but you actually went the other direction. You actually downsized a little bit for figure. You won Tampa, obviously, qualifying for the Olympia this year. What is it about figure that you like better than, say, women's physique? Because you definitely can go either way.
I mean, I think when I started this, it was because of figure. It was because of the elegance and the femininity and the grace that I saw on stage. I also really value kind of the femininity of it, so I would never want to have to say goodbye to that, or I don't know.
It's just your class.
Yeah, I just feel I fit there. I've tried to do physique poses before. I felt like a complete idiot.
Right.
Sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, I got the same little puppies running around. What's interesting though is that I talked to Larissa Rice years ago, and I asked her the same question because everyone always was wondering when she was going to do women's physique, and she's like, "I will not give up my heels." She just likes to walk on the stage in heels.
That's not me. I honestly hate high heels, but I could never stand. I don't think I could stand on stage and do a front double bicep and take myself seriously. To be honest, I just can't do it.
Never say never. That's what Juliana said originally too, and she became Miss Olympia. All those years. So, Chris, is it hard as a competitor, because since you've been competing so much over your lifetime, that to sit back and just watch all these guys, winning these different classic physique shows, and you're kind of just sitting in the wings watching, or was it kind of relaxing for a change?
I'd say it was relaxing. I enjoyed it. It definitely motivated me continuously throughout the year to keep pushing myself, seeing these guys. Like, obviously I love stepping on stage, but like I said, I competed so many times last year that I really needed this break, both mentally and physically on my body, to just kind of get myself to love and be excited to prep again.
Yeah.
I was starting to dread prepping continuously, and sometimes you need to pull back a bit to fall back in love with the reasons. Remember the reasons why you started. So I was definitely had no regrets. Don't wish I did any more shows over the year.
Now, looking at the year and seeing all the people that emerge and the people who will be in this Olympia lineup, taking yourself out of the equation, which new physiques that you really hadn't seen much of do you like? That are going to be on that Olympia stage where you could say, hey, that guy's pretty good. He's got good potential.
Of the new guys?
Yeah.
I'm a little biased because I always like the tall guys, but I'd say Henri Pierre, a guy from Canada. He's from Quebec, I believe. He's got a really nice physique that I like. The tight little waist. He's one of the few guys who can hit his front double with his ab crunch, which contrasts to me. I actually kind of like that look. Mm-hmm. So he's a guy I like for sure. He's probably the top guy I like right now.
Yeah, he's got to be considered one of the. He's a guy who came down from bodybuilding, kind of like you did, and he was a top 5 bodybuilder. So I think that we're seeing more guys like that. Same with Regan, obviously coming down from bodybuilding, going to be in that lineup. It seems like we're going to see a lot more, taller guys in the lineup this year, maybe than last year. And I was talking about this the other day on Iron Debate, and we basically were saying that Breon doesn't really match up that well with you and Henry and Regan and Wesley Vissers, because you guys are so much taller. He's a much shorter version of you guys. Do you think that gives the judges grief and then it makes it harder for them to judge? Because last year it was really, you two look about as diametrically opposite, of anyone I can think of,
Personally, at least I like to think that it's to my advantage. Because right now, like you said, Breon's kind of the odd man out of the new guys that are coming in. Right. So if we're all standing there and there's a bunch of tall guys, and you're just comparing all the tall guys to each other, and then you want to pick who's the best tall guy, and that guy's going to win, Sure. So as long as I can be one of the better tall guys or the best tall guy, I think that puts me at an advantage, because right now that puts Breon or some of the shorter guys who are less shorter guys now, it puts them kind of the odd ones out. And if they don't fit in the lineup, then your eyes don't really get drawn to them.
Either that or all you big guys are out and he's the champ. Melissa, I want to ask you something about the figure lineup, because the figure lineup in the last couple of years has gotten so good that I feel bad for the girls up there, because the girls are it's like competing against Ronnie Coleman from years back. You got, I don't think LaToya Watts is in the lineup this year, but you got Candace Lewis and you got Sydney Gillen, obviously, in that lineup. Is LaToya competing? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Obviously, you got Heather Dees, who was 4th last year, and she was 3rd at the Arnold. When you see names like that and you see physiques like that, is it a little intimidating for you?
I wouldn't say intimidating. I think I'm realistic when I go into shows when I see names like that, because I definitely respect their physiques and how long they've been doing this and how successful they've been. But no, I wouldn't say intimidated is the right word. Maybe motivated to just work harder and make sure that I'm bringing my best.
Right. When you look at physiques like that and you look at yourself, because I tell this story all the time. When I used to look at myself after a show, I used to want to throw up at the pictures. It didn't matter how good I looked or how good I placed. I just was never happy with the way I looked. When you look at the pictures, how do you critique yourself and then say, hey, I'm going to improve this or I'm going to improve that, etc.?
I always just look at myself from the back and I'm like, man, you need to put on some size back there. That's about it. But I know what I need to work on, and I'm willing to do the work. I just don't want to rush kind of putting on a bunch of muscle and it going to the wrong places and losing my shape, because that's something that I really value about my physique. So
yeah, and femininity, obviously, which is what you still have retained, which is something that's important too in the sport.
Yeah.
I'll ask, this is to both of you, either one of you can answer this. It's got to be you got like a weird dynamic, because Ian Valliere dates you. Obviously, he does Chris's diet. It's like a family affair type thing. Do you guys ever get into like fights and arguments and stuff like that and like blow up at each other? Because it can't be all sweet and roses all the time,
We've had our moments. Nothing too crazy. Bit of like we're at our throats sometimes. And sometimes Ian will be getting too self-obsessed with himself, getting into a show, and I'll be like, "Go take a look at me too." And he's just like checking himself out in the mirror and getting a little bit bitter. But I think you would be in shock if you saw how well we all really work together.
That's good.
I've been over here to every single day. I eat my pre-workout with Ian. I've trained every single day for for a month probably with Ian, and it's honestly it's really helped me get through this prep. Having the support team, I don't think I could have gone through this prep without them, to be honest.
Yeah. Who trains? Who I guess I would have to say, but maybe I'm wrong. Who's stronger, you or Ian?
Stronger?
Yeah.
Oh, Ian.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
As long as you don't beat him in any lifts, everything's status quo there. It also is good that you guys don't compete against each other, because that could be a problem also, you know.
For sure, yeah. That probably would be. If we were in the same category, probably have a lot more issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would definitely be a problem. But you know what? Like I said, I always see when there's a tight knit group of people, it could be positive energy and it could really help lift everyone up higher. Or sometimes it could be a disaster because everyone argues with each other. It's good to hear that you guys all get along, because you know, I know my crazy family, my sister and I would never be able to get along doing anything like this. We would last maybe a week and that would be the end of it.
I mean, I think obviously like everyone we argue, and especially closer to a show, and we're all hungry and like patience is wearing thin. But we all know each other's like quirks and kind of know when to like separate or chill out. Be like, hey, I'm just gonna let that be and like leave for an hour and then come back. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's good. That's good. Why do you guys think that all these Canadian bodybuilders are coming out of the woodwork? And I mean, you guys have more Canadians in the Olympia this year than at any other year in the past. As a matter of fact, the Canadians never did well usually at the Olympia level until just like recently, in recent years. Why do you think, where are all these people coming from? Is there a movement in Canada where more people are really into it? It's amazing what I'm seeing coming out of there.
That's hard to say. In the last like very recent years, our like the way that people can turn pro, there's been more opportunities.
Right.
So maybe that can help a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, there's that like theory of the first man who ran the 4-minute mile or whatever.
Right.
Once this person did it, people are like, "Oh shit, it's possible. We can all do it," you know?
Yeah.
Like you did it last year. Well, then why can't I do it this year? You know?
Gotcha. Roger Bannister was the man who broke the 4-minute mile, by the way, and that's an interesting theory, you know, Chris, because you're right. I think maybe, you know, you guys were a little behind up there what was going on in the U.S., the movement, and that's why a lot of guys from Canada always moved to the U.S. to train. I think Paul Dillette comes to mind. Now it seems like, you know, people realize that, hey, you guys have the knowledge up there. You got the gyms certainly, and the genetics are there. And so more and more people are actually coming out of the woodwork. I'm more excited about who's coming out of Canada than who's coming out of the United States lately.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've never thought that moving somewhere, going to some other country, finding some magic coach is gonna give you the secret to change or be better. If you can't do it at home, then what's gonna change going over some other country? You know, like just put in the work.
So you and Melissa are not moving to Kuwait anytime soon, man.
I think we'll avoid that at least for a couple of years.
Well, guys, you know, I just want to wish you the best of luck. I wanted to just get you on here, a little preview. I know a lot of the fans love to hear from you, want to get a little update. You've kind of been laying low, and I think that's good. Sometimes it's, you know, keep yourself out of your nose out of the, you know, the social media spotlight, and you know, so that no one is, I guess, anticipating something that they don't know about. But I appreciate you guys coming on and at a week out from the Olympia. I want to wish you the best of luck leading into next week's show.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and that's going to take us to the end of another episode of RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2018. Brought to you by Redcon One. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.